Way!
In 300 meters.
G'day guys, welcome back. We're obviously currently in my car at the moment. We're going to go for a bit of a cruise and we're going to talk about Apple Maps, Google Maps and Waze. So let's go. So obviously this is a bit different than the normal broadcasting. Camera's going to be moving around a little bit more than you're probably used to in a YouTube video. But we're in a car, so I guess I've got to be a bit more careful on the acceleration and the braking, but we're going to get some donuts, maybe get an orange juice from Macca's, I don't know. And we're going to use the Maps programs to get us there. And we're going to talk about the differences between each one and which one is better than the other and which one I like the most. So, hope you enjoy this video. It's a little bit more of a vlog kind of thing, but I think that's cool and different and changes it up and makes it interesting. Speed hump. Alright guys, so obviously like I said, we're in the car and we're going to talk about Waze first. Waze is a GPS app that's been added to iOS 12 and CarPlay, and Waze has some pros. So some of the pros are that it gives you real-time traffic updates, and it also provides those updates via other Waze users. So if there's someone else in traffic that's maybe hit an accident or a traffic jam or something like that, that information is actually going to get passed on within the Waze network. So a lot of people do say that Waze is much better at giving you intelligent updates in real time. And some of the other cool updates is that Waze will give you things like camera alerts, like if there's a red light camera or a speed camera. Also give you traffic speed limit updates. So if you're in an area which is 50 kilometers an hour or one that's in 70, it will actually provide those updates on your dash, so that way you know what the speed limit is, and so that way you don't go over and risk getting any fines. The cons of Waze would be that it doesn't provide, I'll show you this in the next part, but it doesn't provide you any lane guidance. So compared to Google Maps and Apple Maps, which do that, Waze does not. So it just is a simple turn left here, turn right here. It doesn't have a lot of the business information, so if you do want to put in the address of a business, it might not necessarily come up, as I don't know necessarily which database Waze is talking to when you do say you want to go somewhere, and also the assistant isn't probably as clever or as intuitive as Google Maps or Siri. Give me directions to the grounds of Alexandria.
Sure, let's go to the grounds of Alexandria, 7A, 2 Huntley Street, Alexandria.
Alrighty, so let's go. Let's see how that looks. So the user interface is pretty cartoony. I guess that's the way that I would describe it. The purple line shows you your routes. And as you can see, you've got the arrival time, travel duration or travel time, how many meters it is. I like using Waze, definitely for when there's like an event going on in Sydney. Waze is pretty good at giving me directions that are gonna avoid that.
Turn left onto Huntley Street.
It's a very British voice. Turn left onto Huntley Street.
You've arrived at your destination.
I'm going to go for a bit more of a drive just so you can get an idea on how the app works. Alright, so we'll try another one here. We'll go voice and we'll go Bunnings, Alexandria.
Okay, Bunnings, Alexandria, 840th Houston Road, Alexandria. Is that correct?
Yes.
Done. In 100 meters, turn right, then turn right. Turn right, then turn right.
It's pretty insistent on turning right. Obviously I knew that Bunnings is really close to where we were. I just wanted to give you guys an idea on the voice part of it and how that part works. Oh my god, they're doing sausage sizzles on Sundays now. So now that we've parked, we're going to have a quick look at Apple Maps, have a chat about that. Apple Maps has probably been covered a lot, but one of the reasons why I really like Apple Maps is that it is probably the easiest to understand from a visual point of view. At first glance, it gives you all the information that you need. It's been added with lane guidance now, so it tells you which lanes to be in, which is really helpful if you're on highways. Knowing which lane to be in before your exit is super important, as well as the fact that it integrates with things like your contacts list and your address list really well, but it still could be better in terms of finding businesses. Quite often when I am asking Siri to get me to a business, it might not find it as the business isn't registered with the Apple Maps data. So we're going to have a drive with Apple Maps now, and I'll show you guys how that one works.
Where would you like to go?
McDonald's. Alright, so it gives us a few options here. I'm just going to go to probably the one in St. Peter's. I think that's probably going to be the best one. Princess Highway and Bishop Street. We'll hit go. It gives us a couple different options here. We can obviously navigate through and pick different McDonald's, but I'm going to pick the one that's about 2 kilometers away. Press go. We'll turn the sound on as well.
Head southwest on Euston Road.
So visually, I think this is probably one of the nicest in-car GPS systems there is going around. I think Apple's had a long time to work on developing it and making the animations and the graphics all look really nice. It's still cartoony, but I think it's much easier to look at and get the information that you need compared to, I guess, Waze, in my opinion. Apple Maps gives you the actual Australian accent,
in 800 meters,
which is nice.
Turn left onto King Street.
It doesn't necessarily give you real-time traffic update information as well as what Waze does. It still does give you the information. It does tell you when there's traffic and it asks you to reroute, but I will say that from my experience, it doesn't give it to you in advance enough. It doesn't look along the route and give you that information well in advance. Quite often it will get you to the point of which you're in the traffic jam, and then it will say, oh, there's a better route, but you're in no position to be able to move.
On the left to turn onto King Street.
And I mean, Apple Maps has come a long way, in Australia at least, in terms of like telling you which highway to be on or which lane to be in. It's definitely gotten a lot better since when I first started using CarPlay about 3 years ago.
Use the left 2 lanes to turn onto King Street.
And another thing with Apple Maps, it doesn't actually give you the speed limits and the red light cameras and the speed cameras as you're driving, which Waze does. So that's just another thing to take into consideration. Alright, so we're at McDonald's. We're going to head to Krispy Kreme's now, and we're going to finish up there. We're going to use Google Maps now to get us there. Google Maps is actually the reason why I was so excited about iOS 12 and CarPlay, and when that all happened, Apple announced Google Maps would be added into the trio of apps that you can use for getting yourself around. So Google Maps, as we all know, probably has the best information in terms of businesses. It has lane guidance, it's got a decent user interface. You can do things like skipping toll routes, you can do things like skipping highway routes. If you tell it to get you somewhere, or you say a business, a local business that Apple Maps or Waze might not have, Google Maps will definitely get you there. So we'll use Google Maps to get us to Krispy Kreme's. So let's go. Krispy Kreme Donuts, Sydney Airport. But we'll just choose the most direct route that it gives us. It's going to tell us to turn left in 200 meters. I think that's the best way to go, and I'll turn the sound on as well so you can hear the turn-by-turn navigation.
Continue on Canal Road for 1 kilometre.
So with Google Maps, one thing I will say is that as good as the app is with all the data it gives you, giving you real-time traffic update information as well, is, in my opinion, I think the graphics could, I don't know, be a little bit more punchy. The grey and the blues are quite close in tone, I guess. Is that one way to explain it? Doesn't feel really like some information stands out compared to something like Apple Maps or Waze. Apple Maps giving you businesses sort of on the screen as you're driving. Waze giving you, I guess, the camera information. Google Map doesn't really give you any of that. It just gives you your route, and that is it. But you know, like I said, if you type in or you ask it to give you directions to a service station or to a restaurant, it will always find it. So as I mentioned before as well, you can actually go into the settings during your trip, and you can go ahead and tap on avoid motorways, avoid tolls, avoid ferries. I don't know why avoid ferries would be in a car application, but it's an option. It also gives you the option to toggle the traffic data. You know, those red or yellow sections, you can turn those on and off, and also you can change the map to a satellite mode as well if that's what you prefer. So in case you're wondering what car I'm driving, by the way, this is a 2015 MY16 Volkswagen Tiguan, which had Apple CarPlay. It was one of the first cars to have Apple CarPlay, and I was a real early adopter. I've been using Apple CarPlay since iOS 10, I think it is, or maybe even earlier, iOS 9, I'm not 100% sure. But back in 2015, when Apple CarPlay first really became a thing, and it was really a standard thing on a lot of the Volkswagens, I've been using it. And to be quite honest with you, the conjunction of Apple Maps, the music, the phone features, Apple CarPlay was the reason for, I guess, Volkswagen and Apple CarPlay together was the reason why I picked this car. I think the fact that I've saved about $2,500 by choosing Apple CarPlay instead of the GPS option is great value, and having the option of having 3 different GPS systems, I don't think any other car's inbuilt system can do that as well as what Apple CarPlay can. So thanks for watching that video. Hopefully you enjoyed the drive. Hopefully now you know a bit more about Apple Maps, Google Maps and Waze. If you like this video, then like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of the other future videos, hit subscribe down below. And as always, you can reach out to me in the comment section or Facebook and Instagram as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Dinner time, it's dinner time. Dinner time.